there's a peculiar kind of loneliness that doesn't come from being alone, but from seeing too much, from understanding things most people ignore, from noticing the cracks in the mask that the world insists on wearing. You try to speak, but they call you negative. You stay quiet, and it eats you alive. Have you ever felt disconnected, not because you lacked company, but because your mind wandered into corners others avoid, because you couldn't unsee the truths, the hypocrisies, the quiet pain behind forced smiles, the shallow performances people call life? You're not broken. You're just awake. And in a world addicted to distraction, being awake is a lonely thing. Some people look at the sky and see blue. You look and see pollution. Some hear laughter and feel warmth. You hear it and wonder what pain it's masking. You sit in a room full of people and feel utterly alone because their conversations feel like noise, surface level, safe, scripted. The more you see, the less you can pretend. You see through people, through their pain, through their projections. You see the cycles, the generational trauma, the performative kindness, the internal battles hidden behind curated lives. And it's exhausting, because no one wants a mirror held to their face. You weren't always like this. There was a time you laughed easily, believed people at their word, trusted institutions, trusted intentions, trusted the world. But over time, layer by layer, your innocence peeled away. You watched people lie to themselves. You watched love turn into control, friendship into competition, religion into weaponry, justice into performance. And then it hit you. Most people don't want the truth. They want comfort. And truth is rarely comfortable. You started to feel like a ghost in your own life. Too much for the average conversation. Too deep for the small talk. Too intense, too serious, too observant. So you learned to hide it, to shrink, to smile, to blend in. But deep down, you knew. You were faking it just to survive. Here's the cruel paradox. The more emotionally intelligent you become, the lonelier it gets. You spot manipulation quickly. You know when someone's pretending to be okay. You sense when someone's projecting their wounds onto you. And suddenly, the pool of people you can genuinely connect with shrinks. You can't play dumb anymore. Can't ignore the power plays. Can't fake laughter at superficial jokes. You crave depth, but the world offers distractions. It leaves you feeling like an alien in your own species, surrounded by people, yet starving for real connection. There's also a quieter kind of grief, one that no one talks about. The grief of seeing too clearly, of realizing that love is often conditional, that power corrupts even the well-intentioned, that most revolutions become systems, that healing takes decades, and not everyone chooses it. You want to unlearn what you've seen, but the mind doesn't work like that. You try to distract yourself, scroll, work, socialize. But the thoughts, they're always there, always analyzing, dissecting, asking what's really going on beneath this. You're not paranoid. You're just awake in a world that rewards the asleep. So, what do you do with this vision, this burden? You could go numb, or cynical, or bitter. But there's another path, a harder one, a nobler one. You build a quiet inner sanctuary. You choose depth, even if it means solitude. You choose truth, even if it costs comfort. You choose compassion, even when others can't meet you there. You learn to be your own anchor, to find beauty in your sensitivity, to understand that loneliness isn't always a curse. Sometimes it's the price of seeing the world clearly, and then, one day, you meet someone whose eyes carry the same quiet exhaustion, someone who doesn't flinch at pain, who speaks of shadows without fear, who values truth over comfort. And in that moment, you realize you were never truly alone, just rare. And rare things aren't meant to be found easily. So, if you're listening to this, if your heart feels heavy from carrying all that you see, if you've ever felt like the world makes no room for people like you, let this be your reminder. Your depth is not a defect. Your perception is not paranoia. Your solitude is not a punishment. It's the sacred space between seeing the world as it is and choosing to love it anyway. Because even in your loneliness, you are not alone.